Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
The market trading down a couple of points. We have so much news we're going to get to here in a second. But Joel, what about this big sell-off we're having?
Is there something wrong with my trade station quotes? Because it's showing us down 250, so that can't be possible
Oh, we'll
here.
be up. We'll be up by the time we
Okay,
open, Pri. You
okay,
know how
all
this
right.
market works.
I was worried. I mean, I thought we were going, to 17,000 today with Jeremy Siegel's prediction.
Oh.
Anyways, we're hanging just above the overnight low right now, 1625.50. Very mild support at 1624. Made a new high overnight at 1631 by a couple points. So yesterday's high is still relevant at 1628.50.
Barnes and Noble, let's start with them because I'm having deja vu here. I remember hearing this rumor last year, another rumor, Microsoft, here's the rumor from TechCrunch. Microsoft may acquire the digital assets of Nook Media for $1 billion. Stock is trading up right now 22%, 24% on this. It's trading at 22.20. Actually, go to the pre-market chart here first, Joel, before you show that. Go to the pre-market chart. 23. What's the high we've been here? 23.70 and change. Grab it there.
23.80. Got to
23.80. Okay, so let's pull back a buck 70 here now. This rumor, I'm going back to my charts too here. Last year, if you go back to your weekly charts, if you go back to the date of May the 4th, this exact same rumor was out, and the stock went from like 13 to 26 bucks, caved and gave it all back over the course of the next month. I don't know. It was almost the identical rumor. $1 billion is significant. If this rumor does materialize, obviously Barnes & Noble is going to go up higher because the whole entire market cap of the company at the 1777 close yesterday is only 1.09 billion. So basically, they're giving they would be giving cash from almost the entire market cap of the company. But this is just a rumor right now, and this rumor did materialize last year, and nothing came of it. So very interesting that the same rumor is coming out, and the stock is reacting in the same exact way.
Yeah, not quite as much. When that rumor came out back, I think you said back last May, we did spike to $27, and if my memory serves me correctly, I think we even got even higher in the pre-market
yeah.
when that Michigas was going on here. But all we can do is look at today's activity. The initial spike took it up to 23.80. You've had a little bit of a decline here since then. Since trading the 23.80 level, we've come down to 21.31, consolidating here around 22. Once again, here's probably an opportunity if you're long the stock in the portfolio. You had a target at 22 or 23. Take the chips off the table. Don't get greedy. Shorting this thing, you don't know what the price is.
It's hard to short it because if that rumor does materialize,
correct.
The stock could go a lot higher. So it does become tricky to just short it. But last time, if you did that, though, you made money.
I thought bookstores were going away. I didn't think people, and that's why the Nook is so big, because people aren't going to buy books anymore.
Well, a lot of bookstores. I think bookstores have had a lot of trouble overall. Obviously, we saw what's happened with Borders before,
Right.
So, and Barnes and Noble has been weak, but they do have that Nook, and that's the one product probably that's really keeping them alive. Tesla, TSLA. Reported earnings blew them away, 12 cents versus 4 cents. This is the biggest short squeeze you ever see. 562 million versus 500 million. So they beat on the top line, beat on the bottom line. 41.8% of the short is float rate the float is short right now. So you can just imagine the short squeeze and the panic here in the Tesla. Goldman Sachs isn't having any of it though, because they are downgrading the stock today.
Yeah,
Goldman has guts, man. Goldman has guts. They don't care that the stock's up 23% today and making new highs. They're saying, no, it doesn't make sense to us, and we're downgrading it this morning. But wow, what a spike here on those earnings. What's the after-hours high?
72.99.
72.99. It's at 69 bucks here right now, up 13, up 24%. This is fighting obviously with Barnes and Noble to be your leader of the day. Actually, just past Barnes and Noble. It's up the most now, 23.59. Barnes and Noble only up 23.52. So Tesla has taken the lead here again on Barnes and Noble for your leader of the day.
Is there a wager here? I think the 72.99. Okay. Since we hit 72.99, you did get a decline to the $65 area. So believe it or not, 65 is supporting this thing. Uh, Coming up on the upside, we are making a nice recovery off that 65 low. 72.99 is the only parameter that you have to trade off in this thing. And once again, if you're short, you're getting roasted. If you're long, perhaps you want to use the opportunity to exit this stock.
GMCR reports earnings 93 cents versus 73, but that's not the big news. They announced partnership 5-year pact with Starbucks here. So GMCR and Starbucks joining up, and GMCR is benefiting huge from this. It is up 17.32% in the pre-market. 26% of the float is short here too, so obviously you got a short squeeze going on as well. This stock was having major resistance in the whole $60 area. It broke out of there like crazy last night on this report and blew through the entire 60s and is now almost trading in the 70s.
Yeah, shorts are getting roasted again. 71 and a quarter this thing hit. Since hitting that 71 and a quarter level, you've found good support, believe it or not, at 69 in the pre-market trading. So you can take a look at those parameters, 69 and 71 and a quarter, if you're looking to get involved in this beast. I think this stock has, you can go to a monthly here and just keep an eye. This 72.27 was a level that we hit back in November of 2011 before you had a pretty good decline. So you got to think that 70 to 72.27 level should be resistance. But hey, I mean, the stock's already up 17%.
Stocks are flying. It's hard to short these high flyers. We got Groupon reported earnings last night too. It's flying as well, not as much as the other ones, but it is up 12%. Reported earnings of 3 cents versus the estimates of 3 cents, so in line. Revenue though beat 604 million versus 590 million. So the beat on the top line came in line on the bottom line. Stock got a really good lift, obviously bounced up almost to 650 there last night. Is trading 627 right now, up 12%.
Yeah, this is a low-priced high flyer, though, a little bit different. You can't get killed as much shorting this one. You did get a spike over the 6
killed more, Joel, in the short
yeah,
ones.
well, I guess so. I just
Not
hopefully
today,
it won't move as much. 645 here was the high. Since you've hit that 645 level, come down and traded just above 610, 612. So there's two parameters you can use. Below 612, you got a little bit of air to fill on the downside. I believe this is the highest.
No,
Well,
and you know what those two numbers are? 666. Both of those highs. The high from the May the 15th or April the 15th, 666. And the high from April 25th, 666. So that's your number,
right.
666, sign of the beast there. We're below there right now by 40 cents, but obviously if we get up into that area where that double top was before, I think you'll find formidable resistance as the beast defends that level.
If the devil worshippers are out again today, it shouldn't get any higher than that. 6.66.
We have so many stocks reporting earnings. I don't know if we'll get to them all, but let's try to fly through a few of them here, Joel. We got NWS or NWSA, whichever you prefer. News Corp, obviously they have both of the stock, or they have both of the. Go with the NWSA. It's usually a little bit more active than the NWS. NWSA trading up $1.14 on their earnings, 36 cents versus 35, so they beat by a penny. Stock got a pretty good spike there. You want to do quick technical NWSA?
I'll just give the high in this thing. You did get 33.15 was the spike that you had here. Believe right after the announcement. Now just hanging out at 33. Looking at the daily
new 52-week high.
Yeah, so that's the only number you can really use in that one.
Got Dean Foods just reported earnings here this morning. It's trading up a bit here, 29 cents versus 27. The revenue was actually light, 2.88 billion versus 2.98 billion. Stock is trading up 45 cents here, close to $19, trading up at 19.45. Actually just ticked down to 19.30. So on pretty light volume, 5,900 shares. It's going to be a thicker one, though. I think if this thing gets anywhere near the $20 area, you got to think there's going to be some sellers up there.
1950 is the high that you hit in the pre-market. Going to the daily charts, you are knocking on the door of the 1957 high that you had on May 3rd. So there's some identifiable resistance in that stock. Taking a look a little bit, the weeklies don't do anything, and the monthlies Really, I don't see much at the $20 level. So let's keep an eye on 1950 to 1957.
APA just reported earnings here at 8 o'clock this morning. I actually was ticking up here. I was looking at it trading at 79 bucks. I'm like, man, I should short that because I don't know why it's trading up because they missed 202 versus 2.21 on the earnings. But they did announce a buyback of potentially 30 million shares here. So the stock actually did a lift on there up in that 79 area that I was talking about, but now has caved, given those gains back. It's ticked down and traded down as low as 77.10. So it is trading down 60 cents now as they digest that earnings report.
Yeah, we did get a recent low at 76.80 here, getting a little pop off that. Not sure if that 79.58 high in the pre-market is be relevant. Let's take a look at the daily here. The stock had been marching towards the recent high at 78.08. So if it does go into rally mode here, gets near yesterday's high, which was 77.83 up to the 78.08 level, you should see some resistance. Coming back on the downside, did have a big range yesterday. If you're playing this short, double bottom to take a look at from Tuesday and Wednesday at 76.10 and 76.31.
I want to look at CenturyTel, CTL, because they reported earnings here as well. 76 cents versus 69. It's an interesting chart. This $38 has been absolutely enormous. It has traded through there in the pre-market here. Go to the pre-market chart, Joel, and you can just show how high it got. It's just breaking out now through that whole $38 level. I do see some institutional sellers at 38 though in the New York book. That liquidity obviously becomes active at 9:30. So 38 bucks. I see 68,000 shares there in the New York buck. That could put a lid on it off the hop. Obviously, if it can take that 38 out, this is a thin one. If you go out to the weeklies, you'll see that there's a huge gap between 40. I'm trying to grab that number. Actually, it's 42 bucks and 38. It's all air above 38. So if it starts to get above that 38, I think 38 is your big swing number on this. If 38 can hold, obviously that still remains formidable resistance. But if for some reason it can get above that 38 number in the regular session, it's all air. Not saying it's going to go to 42, but it just can obviously continue the rally fairly quickly. Because stocks, when they have air like that, can move quickly through those areas.
37.90 was the high that you had back at the end of April here, so we are trading above that level. You can use that either as a stop if we start to come back down, could fall back into yesterday's range. But just the interesting thing about this chart is look what it does in 1 week. It goes down, and then it takes 10, 12 weeks to recover. Yeah. So it's getting a lot of it back today, but really the only relevant number we have for the stock is right where it's trading right now, 38.18, 38.19, pre-market high.
The Irisone investment conference on in New York yesterday, and Shanos was speaking, and when Shanos speaks, everybody listens. He actually said the PC decline has just begun, and he said the hard disk drives makers could get hit the hardest. He cited two, WDC and STX. And STX, believe it or not, he actually said they may have accounting issues as well.
No, not accounting issues.
We know how much this market loves accounting issues. And once he said that, I was actually watching the stock trade in the after-hour session. He said accounting issues. That thing went from 42 to 41 in the blink of an eye. So, and now it's actually trading under 41 STX. So it looks like Seagate and Western Digital going to be under some significant pressure from those Chanos comments.
Well, he got a good high school education. He went to the same high school my girls go to, Birmingham Grove. So Mr. Chanos has been right on top of things.
Local.
Yeah, local Michigan. Can't say Detroit. I mean, these stocks have had major runs. So it depends on how much stock you put in what Mr. Chanos has to say. There's a lot of room on the downside on these things. I'd keep an eye on 39.89. That was the low on May 3rd for Seagate Technology. Western Digital has also had just one heck of a run,
really
a little bit more dignified. I mean, if I could draw a good trend line, it'd be one steep trend line here, and it's been broken. 57.87 is where it's trading. Let's just take a quick look. Got a little bit spike lower at 57.20, have recovered a little bit. But once again, I mean, it depends on how much faith you put in Mr. Chanos. So these stocks have just had some amazing
I
runs.
know there's a lot of other earnings report, like Rig reported 93 versus a buck, Dish reported 47 versus 53, both those stocks trading down. Lots of other littler reports. We don't have time to get into them all today, so obviously if you're trading any little small mid-cap stocks, make sure you check your earnings calendar, know what's coming up, and know if they've reported or not. Let's get just to a few upgrades and downgrades here. We did have a couple of big ones here. BlackRock actually getting downgraded, BLK. I don't know how many of our traders trade the $277 stocks, but Citigroup is downgrading BlackRock today, and it's apparent that not a lot of people trade these $277 stocks at all, because on this downgrade, this has traded a whopping 0 shares so this morning. So it is offered at 275.85, so it's offered down a buck and a half on that downgrade.
And what are they downgraded on? Just
Actually,
valuation,
I didn't
or
read the report and read the reason for the
okay,
Citigroup.
okay.
I just grabbed the headline because there was so much news here this morning. But Citigroup did downgrade them, and that is a significant company, significant. Obviously, analysts downgrading this morning. Yesterday's low 268.03. I don't know if that's going to come into play or not, but what's
Maybe they just did the old fade to high
I
close
think they
thing or
did.
something. Yeah, yeah. Recent high, I believe, might be an all-time high, 277 and a quarter. Close 277.37. So that's your identifiable resistance in this thing. Coming back, I mean, I don't imagine it's going to get back down to the 268.03 level. On this downgrade, perhaps nice round number like 270 may act as minor support.
Yes, GES getting downgraded at Wedbush. That stock trading, actually, it's not trading much here at all either, but is offered down at 28.43. Funny, these downgrade stocks are not trading, but they are offered down. So eventually they will trade, and they probably will open down. This stock's been on a really nice tear too. It's run into some major resistance up here in the high 28s. It looks like it's going to open on the low 28s on this downgrade, though.
2880 was the high back on March 11th. You hit 28.77 yesterday, so that should be identifiable resistance if you're looking to trade this thing. Do you think in these analyst meetings in the morning when these guys come in and like say they want to downgrade a stock, do you think everyone starts booing and throwing things at them and stuff and say, what are you talking about? You can't downgrade a stock.
You can't downgrade stocks anymore. We only go higher. Why would you downgrade a stock when we go up every day? No. Obviously, they're just doing their paper. They're doing their valuations and stuff. And there's always upgrades and downgrades. And sometimes, it seems like in these bull markets, it's very hard to downgrade stocks because, 4 days later, the stock's higher than when you downgrade just because the whole market's moving up on you. But here we'll go the opposite direction then, Joel. MGM getting upgraded by Stern AG. Stock is trading up just under the key $15 number.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, that's a
huge.
big number for this. Yeah, it's a huge number. I think it probably takes it out here today. You have multiple tops in the 1490 area. We are trading a little bit above there. We did tick through $15 in the pre-market here. I think you're probably running some institutional selling pressure right off the hop at 15, but I think it might get taken out.
Yeah, 1505 was the high in the pre-market, just dancing around here between 1488 and 1505. So there's a couple parameters to look at. The daily also confirms that $15 level. Did you say there was some size kicking around there?
I didn't notice the size or not, but I'm
Okay.
sure there is. I'm sure there is. On a number like that, 15 whole number, big round number like that, you got to think there's some institutionals. If they're
Yeah,
not
the
lit, they're-
monthlies confirm that resistance too here. 1494 was a high in February, and then 1480 was a high in March. So above 15, you're in breakout mode.
Let's go to Apple here. They went ex-dividend today. The first time they went ex-dividend since they raised the dividend, $3.05. So the adjusted close now is $4.6079. That's adjusted for the dividend. The stock is trading 53 cents below that right now at 460.26. Pretty big volume, 104,000 shares here for Apple. You were citing a potential double top though.
Right, but you take the dividend out of there, so that it's still a relevant number. But obviously, some people chose to cash out on the run ahead of the dividend, as opposed to taking it home and trying to eke out the trade. But that 40.60.79 level, that's a good area to use as resistance right now. We break above there, then people are going to say, hey, who cares? And they'll perhaps take a run up to that double top. That's that 465 area, 65.37 and 75. Those the highs we hit the last 2 days. they fit in nicely with this high at 465.84, and that was the high in March. So above the major resistance here in Apple.
And you want to highlight a couple of the Big Ten. Chevron and Procter and Gamble have had very tight trading ranges. Chevron extremely tight here.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's been inside day after inside day. It's almost like that between this 123, 124 area. Obviously, we know we've had some sellers perched up at 124, and it's been selling ahead of them. But those sellers seem to have been drifting down because the highs keep getting a little bit lower every day. This is eventually going to break out one way or another. Obviously, the 124 is over 100,000 shares selling up there in the New York Buck. So that's what, the high frequency guys and everybody was leaning on 3 or 4 days ago. It hasn't got back up to that area, though. Do you think this is eventually going to break out or break down?
Well, I'm always leaning towards the short side here. So,
which you shouldn't be in this bull market.
I know. 4 lower highs. Take note of that. You got to. It's really a little bit of a stretch here, but you are coming into a little bit of a triangle here, a rising wedge, whatever you want to call it. I'm still using the 3 lows between 122.46 and 71, call it 122.50. I think you take that out, and then you got a chance to make my 120 puts come to fruition. But until you take out that 122.50 level, you just have to step ahead of that size, selling at 124, and hope it doesn't get taken out.
Procter and Gamble's been banging up against this 78.50 level for the last 3 or 4 trading sessions, trying to get above it. We know there's pretty much a lot of air, at least up to 79 above that. So if we could get up above 78.50, I think it could have an easy run to 79, but just can't seem to get there. There's somebody that's sighted that area and is unloading at least some type of position because it's had highs in the 78.40s for 4 of the last 5 trading sessions.
Correct. Yep. And above that, you have 79.16. 79.61 was the high on the earnings day. The gap down, so you got resistance up to that level. Just one quick note on this stock. Even if the market's going down, Procter and Gamble is just kind of one of those funky stocks that even if the market's going down, it can still just churn higher. Kind of has that little bit negative beta effect too. So 78.50. You break above there, you got a chance to run up to the $79 and maybe $79.61.
Overall market thoughts here. We are down 2 points. Basically haven't moved since we started the show 20 minutes ago. You think this is a sell-off, or do you think it's going to be the same story where they slowly start to buy it up, and then by the afternoon we're up 5, 6, 7 points again? And is the path of least resistance still higher here, or is the trend going to finally be broken?
I only have one note on, and the other thing I've written this down, and I haven't mentioned it a lot on the show. I follow the overnight lows, and then follow the intraday lows, and just the pattern. For the last 4, 5, 6, 10 days. You do make a low, in the pre-market. For example, we have 1625.50 is the current low right now, and if a lot of times it will just go a point above it, a point below it, sit there for like 15, 20 minutes and just take off again. So just wait to see where we finally stop here in the pre-market. See if it's taken out by a point or two in the regular session. Then, if that happens, you have a chance to go down, and really no major support down to Wednesday's low at 16.17.
Well, that's our show for today, guys. Have a great trading session, and we will be back with you tomorrow.